I'm Todd.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, as we said in our last review, we're going to do some more post-rock, hitting up with some of the post-rock releases that came out. We knew we wanted to do them, but there was just so much music coming out at the time. And, you know, post-rock's the sort of thing that it's really good in winter time. It's really good. It's actually better than Christmas music.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like what Christmas music should be.
Exactly.
Only it's missing those Mannheim steamroller.
Oh, yeah, the do-do-do-do. Yeah, I like that. Anyways, we're going to do Godspeed You, Black Emperor.
Or is it Godspeed?
Oh.
You Black Emperor.
No one really knows.
I don't
anymore.
know. They're moving the exclamation point around too much.
You know,
I can't keep up with
That's
it.
what they do. Allelujah, don't bend, ascend. This album, 10-year hiatus. A band goes on a 10-year just breakup and reformation. They come back. They you know, debut this album at a live venue. That's pretty effing cool.
Yeah, that is pretty
I think that's sweet because these guys are well, for lack of a better term, gods of post-rock.
Yeah,
like these guys helped really solidify what this genre is.
Huge
they've been
influencers
out since,
in it. Yeah,
they've been out since '94. I mean, and as I go back and I have gotten into Godspeed and listened to their discography, you know, to see this album, it's a whole kind of different experience because first of all, to understand this album, it's kind of intimidating when you first put it on.
Yeah.
Because it's 4 tracks.
Yeah.
It's 2 20-minute tracks. Tracks 1 and 3 are 20 minutes, and then 2 6.5-minute tracks, tracks 2 and 4. And really, the 2 20-minute tracks are where most of the post-rockness is at.
Yeah,
I would say.
I'm with you on that.
But it really whereas Caspian was all about that emotional, cathartic build and release. You know that really a lot of post-rock bands, especially like Explosions in the Sky, Saxon Shore, that have kind of embodied bands like that. Godspeed is really going in a different direction here. They're taking they're trying to create an atmosphere, a mood, more of a soundtrack, anything. And that's pretty typical for Godspeed.
And it's a little more closed off.
Yeah.
In a sense that, like, while some of the other bands you were saying, they're clearly shooting for that emotional appeal, it's almost like Godspeed are so hardened that they're like, screw you, if you get this, you do, and if you don't, we don't care. We don't give a shit. We're just gonna do
They're just doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just doing what they do. And really what you get, I mean, the first track, Melodic, or however you want to say it, it's I'm not even gonna try. You guys know by now that we suck at pronouncing anything. It's just an Iowan curse. That's all we can do. It's red beards. That's what we do. So I think that, you know, this track takes like 10 minutes and it just builds in all these guitars, these crazy rhythms. Samples, right? And it's just a really interesting sound. And it's more like I look at this album and I think of the sound as kind of like this, like an aerial low-level flight tour through like a post-apocalyptic world, you know?
That's really cool. That's a cool visual to go on.
You know, like that's what I get when I listen to this. And I love the mood and I love the experience. Where I struggle with is like, you know, they're kind of getting that emotional release, but they're doing it in a bass-ackwards kind of way.
Yeah.
Like they're creating this whole musical world and soundscape, and then you will inevitably have some sort of emotional reaction to the sounds and all the big extremes that you're hearing, because with these giant track lengths, you know, they have a lot of room to really work the big intensities and make them even bigger and bigger, and then change directions a little bit and keep that intensity going, and then so they have a lot of you know, leeway to do that, but at the same time, you know, you don't get that delivered emotional impact. I don't know, what was your take on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. One of the big reasons for that, I think, is because of just how long they take with these builds. They're so slow, and they come at you in a way that you don't even realize when you're there. It's like, oh, a build happened? I don't remember the process.
Right.
You know, whereas with Caspian, we were saying it was all about the process. It was all about the journey of getting there. These guys do it in such a way that you don't even realize the journey itself. You just realize where you ended up.
Over like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that they build, and they're just slowly adding in different like instruments that introduce new melody lines. It's like a story, and each different instrument is a character, and then you have that little character's mini story and how they relate to the overall story arc. It's a real interesting take on post-rock music, and it's one that like I get in, I like to examine it, but I will say without that giant emotional connection, it's harder to come back to this one.
Definitely, because it's so much more about the atmosphere.
It absolutely
is. It's so much more. I mean, they're able to make these little sections within these, what I would pretty much call movements or compositions, you know, they're able to make them flow seamlessly. And when I say seamlessly, I mean it. I mean, like, there is nothing between these, and all of a sudden you're at one side of the room and you're on the opposite side of the room and you don't know how you freaking got there.
Yeah.
They're able to do that perfectly, but at the same time, I never feel like where I end up is somewhere particularly powerful. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
It's very cool, and the way they do it is cool, but it doesn't really hit me very profoundly.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that one of the downfalls in this album, because initially, like when I was first listening to this album, getting in like the first like 3 to 5 listens, I was sitting here going nuts over it for all the reasons that we've said so far.
Yeah.
After really like digging apart at like the composition, which I have a habit of doing, taking that high level view, how is the album structured? The track 3, We Drift Like Worried Fire, that track really is, it's like a 2-part giant track, but it's not as strong as the first track. It really isn't, and I feel like because of that, the highs aren't as high, the lows aren't as low. It really makes after the first 20 minutes of the album, the other 32 minutes that you're enduring is not really as quite as good as the first part, and I think it's not like it's bad by any means. It's just not on the same like quality level.
Part of what I would attribute that to is that I feel like these guys are going for a larger, bigger picture, like larger context, but without knowing what that context is, it's a little harder to wrap yourself into.
Yeah, totally.
And the example I would use is, we reviewed Sigur Rós' album Valtari earlier in the year, and we weren't too keen on it. We thought it was good, but we thought it was a little disappointing compared to the rest of their work. Well, the whole point of Valtari is it's supposed to accompany these videos. There was this whole video project along with it, and from what I hear, I haven't actually seen the videos, but from what I hear, the music works along with those videos so much more. And tracks, especially like We Drift Like Worried Fire, I feel like would be so much more effective in a larger context, paired with something else that maybe I don't know about, maybe a story, maybe some sort of visual thing. But when it's just the music, when that's all you're getting, then I can appreciate it from a production standpoint, from a compositional standpoint, but it doesn't really affect me on any level beyond that.
Right. Yeah, and did you know that they actually have somebody like that's considered a band member that actually does the visual projections, like when they're doing live shows and stuff?
That's awesome.
So that, it accompanies what you're saying, and that it definitely.
I would love to see this live.
That would be awesome.
If they ever came around here,
yeah, we're doing that. Unfortunately, just so you guys know, Iowa sucks for live shows. We have to drive like 5-6 hours just to see anything.
It's true.
But yeah, this is definitely an album that a live experience would just be absolutely mind blowing. If you've seen them, please brag to us about it.
I would love to hear it.
I want to just live vicariously through Godspeed fans. Overall, I felt like this album was strong. It was all about the idea, less about the individual tracks and that emotional appeal. It's a really awesome album to put on. However, to make it like one of the top post-rock albums I have ever listened to, I want that emotional appeal.
Yeah.
I want a full album experience. I want to feel like this album is something that I would listen to again and again forever. And that takes an emotional appeal to get that comeback quality.
Totally agree.
I'm going 79.
I'm also going 79.
All right. I think that we could have gone higher on this, but this is where I'm at right now, and I've listened to this like 10 times, so we're going to call it good. You guys may love this album, and that's awesome. Tell us about it at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That's where you guys talk with us about music. You give us album requests, you tell us about the old bands that you're into, and we get a lot out of that because we take all that information, listen to that music, and then review it. That's what Velocities and Music is all about. Thanks for being a part of it. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.